As is tradition for EV Up North videos, let's skip all the YouTube intro stuff and save 5 minutes and get to it, eh? I'll show the differences on things that are of aesthetic value, but I won't place any subjective preference either way. I will, though, present those differences and if they have a tangible effect on the car, like wheel size or tactile buttons, then I will highlight the pros and cons. I'll also try my best not to be redundant when going through all of the comparisons. The Polestar 2, the Tesla Model 3. That's all I got. I can't do any more of that. Both of these are the 2021 models and dual motor versions. How do they differ and how much do those differences matter? Does nothing matter and is life a simulation? Some, but not all of these questions will be discussed, starting with existentialism. I mean, the exterior. The exteriors of these cars have very different looks. Your conclusion will be nearly fully subjective, but we can still discuss many key differences. Overall, the body of the Polestar 2 is more angular and has a look that says traditional luxury car, while the Model 3 is curvier and looks more akin to a Photon torpedo from the USS Enterprise. Specifically, here are the larger key differences. You've got a faux grille versus no grille, higher ground clearance versus low clearance, shark fin antenna versus none, single glass roof versus two glass for a panoramic roof, traditional door handles versus flush door handles, a large tail light versus normal tail lights, 19 to 20 inch wheel options versus 18 to 20 inch wheel options, frameless mirrors versus framed mirrors, showy charge port versus hidden charge port, and many other small differences. The dimensions between the two are noticeable as well, with the Polestar 2 being a little taller and heavier, while the Model 3 is longer and wider. To go into more detail, the Polestar 2 has traditional door handles with nice puddle lights, while Teslas are more built for style and aerodynamics, but sometimes have issues getting frozen if left outside in bad weather. The ground clearance is another factor worth weighing, as the Polestar 2 has a bit more that may be helpful with steep driveways and snow driving. Also, the wheel size options are worth mentioning, as smaller wheels like Tesla's stock 18 inches can offer more range and efficiency and better winter driving, compared to larger wheels which are usually only sought after for styling reasons. What they share in common here is that they're both good-looking cars, both with very positive reviews on their looks. Going under the hood, or rather, under the body, under the seats, well, wherever you look for an electric car, here are their performance measures. So while the Polestar 2 gives you more horsepower and torque, the Model 3 outperforms when it comes to 0 to 60 and top speed. And it's not even a contest when it comes to range. The Model 3 long range has 120 miles more in range than the Polestar 2 dual motor. I will note that the Polestar 2 single motor is actually their longer range car, coming in around 265 miles of range, but that's still far short of the Model 3. But the dual motor and all-wheel drive versions of these two vehicles are the most comparable otherwise. In regards to the exterior and performance, you're going to have to make a decision along the lines of vacationing in Hawaii or in Tahiti, and it's going to be a decision without a bad answer, and based on personal taste. Let's head inside and show the differences in the interiors. Again, big differences here mirroring the exterior differences, basically old money versus new money looks. You have a sophisticated luxury traditional design with many textures versus a sophisticated minimalist design, a driver's side instrument panel versus nothing, tactile and standard controls versus as few as possible, including interior door handles, gear shifter, vents, seat memory buttons, child locks, trunk and frunk buttons, light dimming button, and a glove box handle. Going a little deeper, the missing driver's side instrument panel in the Model 3 can be very annoying to some, and even a deal breaker, especially since Tesla has them in other models. Same with the tactile buttons that are found in the Polestar 2 that are lacking in the Model 3. This is another large difference that is very personal in taste and practicality. Another notable interior difference I'll point out is the center console. The Model 3 has a large console area that's more optimized for storage, having its gear selector on the right-hand stock. The Polestar 2 uses a lot of the center space for its gear selector, wasting space to make a splashy statement. It even reduces the cup holder count to 1, with a second one hidden in the back part of the center console. But at least this wasted space looks cool. And lastly, the Polestar 2 has less driving visibility when looking over shoulders, and most noticeably when looking out the back window via the rearview mirror. But the Polestar 2 and Model 3 both have a lot of interior similarities. They both sport fold-down back seats, wireless chargers, USB-C ports, heated front and back seats, though the backseat passengers in a Model 3 can't control their own seats. Both cars have heated steering wheels, vegan-friendly interiors, glove boxes, though Tesla's is controlled through the touchscreen. They both have side storage compartments and push-button interior and hazard lights. They also both have cup holders, but Polestar makes you work a little bit more for the second one up front, as mentioned earlier. Climate control for both are done through the center touchscreens, though the Polestar 2 does have two whole buttons outside of the touchscreen that control the front and rear window defrost. Let's give perspective to interior sizing. You can see the Polestar 2 has an edge when it comes to headroom, but the Model 3 has more leg and shoulder room in both the front and rear seats. The headroom difference was noticeable, but the Model 3 was still comfortable and plenty for me at 6'4". The listed 1+ inches of more legroom for the Tesla backseat was noticeable and felt like it was even more than that. The Model 3 doesn't have the largest backseat for adults, but it is definitely more comfortable than the Polestar 2. And of course, they also both have large tablets dominating the center of their interiors, serving as the main hub of the car and its functions for both vehicles. The differences between these two are vast. I'll try to summarize the important ones. The biggest of which, literally, is the size. The Polestar 2 has an impressive 11-inch screen, but the Tesla, in a very Muskian way, proudly has a 15-inch screen. Tesla also mounts theirs horizontally, while Polestar's is vertical. The other huge difference is that Tesla runs off of their own operating system, while Polestar uses Google's Android Automotive OS. Tesla pushes out new features and apps via over-the-air downloads, while Polestar can do both over-the-air updates and include new apps in the Google Play Store to download onto your car system. Both systems are very good, some of the best you'll find in any car. Very responsive, intuitive, and loads of features and settings. Between the two, Tesla's is better, at least right now. The bigger screen, more settings, better features and apps, and the fun entertainment widgets are a nice little bonus, like finding a cheese curd in your french fries. Let's look at the cargo capacities of these two vehicles. The Model 3 hands down has more trunk room here. The Polestar 2 has more built-in features and organization, including the handy pop-up divider. Both cars have full lay-down seats which help with longer and larger items. And it's a similar story for the Frunk, with the Model 3 having over 2.5 times the Frunk space, large enough for a carry-on size luggage, while the Polestar is large enough for a larger laptop bag. The Polestar 2 also comes with a tire repair kit and it's built into the Frunk, while the Model 3 doesn't come with a spare tire nor repair kit. But if you do get one, you can put it wherever you want. So if maximum cargo space is important for you, the Model 3 is going to be more favorable. If minimal cargo space is important, then perhaps you should look into see if jetpacks are feasible yet. How did I get into this car and show you the interior? Well, the Polestar 2 is now capable of using your phone as a key, and it also comes with a traditional fob that has 4 tactile buttons, and an activity key fob that is a smaller, more durable fob that you can use while going on adventures. The Model 3 is optimized to have your phone as your primary key, and it also comes with a couple of fobs in the form of a credit card for valet and backup purposes. Tesla does offer a more traditional fob in the shape of a Tesla car, but for a price. Also worth mentioning, though it would be difficult, both cars can also be accessed via breaking a window. I haven't priced out window replacement for either car, so I'm not sure which one would be a better option, but my guess would be that both cars would be very expensive to do this regularly. That should segue us to the phone apps. Both cars have apps for their cars. Tesla's has full control over the car, door locks, climate, charging, live Sentry cameras, location, security, calling for service and roadside, and more. And these features seem to grow each week. Polestar's app has a little less than that. Well, a lot less. The features are very limited, with some basic unlocking and climate controls. The preconditioning and phone as a key feature have been more recently added. Polestar says that more improvements are to come, but of course you're always taking a risk if you're planning for new software features and updates to be delivered. As alluded to earlier, both cars get new software updates via over-the-air updates when you connect the car to Wi-Fi. These updates can be small to very large improvements, even improvements to battery range and acceleration. Okay, let's get to driving these cars. Something that you'll probably find yourself doing from time to time when you're not babying it in your garage. The Polestar 2 has a great ride, smooth, quiet, and heavy. It feels like many a luxury class gas vehicle. The Model 3 is average. Not a bad ride, but a little more firm and loud than most cars at this price point. The extra noise comes from wind and tire noise. Both are noticeable in the Polestar 2 as well, but less so than the Model 3. I did the paper door test thing, which I'm not sure how valid of a test this is, but when shutting the door on a piece of paper and trying to pull it out, it was a little harder to pull out of the Polestar 2. For fun, I did this test on a 2013 Ford Edge as well, just to compare. And the paper came out just as easily on those doors as the Model 3. So take that for what that's worth, which I'm not sure what it's worth. Both cars have regenerative braking, or also known as one-pedal driving. Both are about the same level of abruptness when letting go of the accelerator quickly. The Polestar 2, however, still has a setting where you can adjust the amount of regenerative braking, even being able to turn it off. New Tesla models currently don't have that feature. They used to, but not anymore. This can be a very nice feature to have for new drivers getting used to regenerative braking, especially in the winter on slippery roads. Both cars have lots of cameras, nearly enough to make a paparazzo proud. The Polestar 2 has 4 cameras, one for each side. The software also combines each of these cameras to give the driver a 360 overhead view of the car and its surroundings, which the Model 3 doesn't have at this point. The Model 3 has 8 cameras, 3 of which are used in reverse compared to the single standard backup camera of the Polestar 2. For the Model 3, you can also access 4 of these cameras for its Sentry mode and Dashcam, which comes standard in a Model 3. Sentry mode and Dashcam will record the footage from these 4 cameras in case there's an accident or video you need to save. The Polestar 2 does not have this capability. Speaking of cameras, let's talk about assisted and self-driving capabilities. Both cars have adaptive cruise control that allow you to play around with various settings on follow distance and max speed rules. The Polestar 2 also has Pilot Assist, which is their lane keeping feature. Pilot Assist works when you're still holding onto the wheel and steering yourself, but the car helps you in that endeavor. It will fully steer on its own, but it will notice rather quickly when you're not holding onto the wheel and will make you do so. Interestingly, this lane assist stays on when you change lanes. It temporarily will shut off in the middle of a lane change, but as soon as you turn off your blinker and get into your new lane, Pilot Assist engages again. All Model 3s have a similar feature in Auto Steer. It will keep you in the lane, but you have to hold the wheel to keep it engaged. It's less picky about wheel holding than a Polestar 2, but it forces you to move the wheel slightly from time to time. Unlike Pilot Assist, Auto Steer will not come back on again after a lane change. And as you're probably well aware, all Teslas also have an optional quote-unquote full self-driving that will cost a pretty penny. Full self-driving will take you the full journey if you have a destination entered into the navigation, making all turns, lane changes, stops, the whole deal. It will also allow you to summon your car and have it drive without you in it. All of these features are constantly being updated and improved. Sometimes it works well, and other times, well, it still has some big issues to figure out. There are countless videos on YouTube showing people drive with Tesla's FSD, and take a look for yourself if you're curious on the latest progress around its capabilities. Alright, so there's some cool driving features, but what about the range and battery stuff? The 2021 Model 3 long range has an EPA range of 353 miles, while the 2021 Polestar 2 dual motor has an EPA range of 233 miles. An enormous difference, especially since the Polestar 2's battery pack is nearly the same size as the Model 3's. Tesla is the king of battery efficiency, no doubt about that. These ranges are only true in absolute ideal conditions, and one shouldn't expect this much in the real world, especially when in cold or really hot weather and when you launch from every stoplight. Take a look at some of my other videos to see the true range test of these vehicles. Both cars' navigation apps run off of Google Maps, and both have a range calculator associated with it. So when you put in a destination, it will calculate how much battery you will have remaining when you arrive. The Model 3 comes with a built-in trip estimator too that goes into more detail and tracks your range progress and changes as you go, which is very nice. I've tested both, and both cars' trip estimators seem very accurate, even in cold weather, which is really reassuring for people making trips, especially with range anxiety for new EV drivers. These estimations take into account the weather and posted speed limits of your trip, which do affect the overall range and inefficiency of the battery. In my little test, I found the Model 3 to be a bit more efficient than the Polestar 2. The Model 3 lost about 14% of its range due to the cold, while the Polestar 2 lost about 25% on the same exact drive. See my range comparison test video between these two to see more details. Let's bring this home, literally, to charging at home options. The Polestar 2 charging port is a J1772 with a CCS. The car comes with a mobile charger and an adapter for a standard 120 volt outlet. You can get other adapters for this mobile charger to plug into level 2 charging, like a NEMA 1450. And you can also get a third-party wall charger for those that need the fastest charging speeds possible. Tesla is very similar. They come with a mobile charger and a standard 120 volt outlet adapter. They also come with a J1772 adapter since the Tesla charging port is their own unique port. Tesla also has a bunch of other level 1 and level 2 adapters to get faster charging. Both cars offer various scheduling options in the car's tablet screen when charging at home, but Tesla has advanced features and settings and can be done more comprehensively through their app too. As for charging away from home, the Polestar 2 relies on the patchwork of charging networks that are expanding throughout the country. Within the Google Maps navigation app, you can search for various chargers and filter based on different speeds and connector types. Tesla can tap into these same third-party charging networks, and of course they have their own huge infrastructure of Tesla superchargers. Tesla is beginning the piloting program to let non-Teslas share their network as well, which would help expand the charging options for the Polestar 2. But early reports indicate that non-Tesla cars may pay a higher rate to charge off of Tesla's network. If you're on the road and you run out of battery or some other issue arises, Polestar offers free roadside assistance for 4 years. Tesla does as well, as long as the car is under its 4-year vehicle warranty. But the assistance may not be free depending on the issue. One issue not covered is a depleted battery. Tesla will come help you, but it won't be free. If you want to try to avoid waiting for roadside assistance for an issue like a flat or punctured tire, the Polestar 2 comes with a wheel repair kit. The Model 3 does not, nor does it have a spare tire. So if you would like to have the ability to fix, repair, or replace a tire on the road in a Model 3, you'll have to get a repair kit or a spare tire. Regarding accessories and aftermarket extras, Polestar does not have its own accessory store, and third-party accessories are limited, though some Volvo accessories are reported to work. While Tesla has a solid offering of things to add to your car, including some less than necessary things on their own store. And the aftermarket and third-party options are seemingly endless for Tesla. How do these cars compare on price? This is where it counts the most for a lot of people. To get as close to the same class of car as possible, I'm looking at their current pricing for a new car. The Model 3 will be the dual motor, non-performance with base features and no add-ons. So 18-inch wheels, base color, etc. The Polestar 2 will also be the dual motor with the Plus package, since this gets us a heat pump, pilot assist, rear heated seats, a wireless charger, and other features that come with the Model 3 dual motor as well. But no other additional add-ons, like I did for the Model 3. The MSRPs for the two vehicles are $55,200 for the Polestar 2 versus $52,440 for the Model 3. But again, at this moment, the Polestar 2 qualifies for a $7,500 federal tax credit, bringing the net price of the Polestar 2 to $47,700. So if you buy today, the difference in price between these two is $4,740 in favor of the Polestar 2. This is not an insignificant amount of money and may be a large enough factor to prefer the Polestar 2 dual motor versus the Model 3 dual motor. Of course, the price difference can vary even more one way or the other if you start looking at other packs for the Polestar 2, single motors for either car, the performance models, etc. Both of these cars come with warranties. The Polestar 2 is a 4-year, 50,000-mile vehicle warranty, an 8-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty, and a 12-year corrosion warranty. The Model 3, on the other hand, has a 4-year, 50,000-mile vehicle warranty, a 5-year, 60,000-mile supplemental restraint system, which is like airbags and things, type of warranty, and an 8-year, 120,000-mile battery warranty. And of course, let's not forget the all-important comparison of the CEOs of these two companies. They are just slightly different from each other. And if I forgot anything to compare, then it clearly wasn't important. Or it's obviously because I'm a dumb and forgot. Let me know how dumb I was in the comments and what I forgot. Overall, there's a lot to digest. But in short, both of these cars are extremely fun to drive, very practical, and both are valid options that cater to different people and their wants in a car. I have a preference for the Model 3 over the Polestar 2, but a lot of that is from my preferences and possibly from a choice supportive bias of justifying my rationalization of now owning a Model 3. The important differences to me is the range, the additional cargo space, the usability of the backseat, the charging technology and network, the app and technological features in the Tesla, and the fact that the Model 3 has been around since 2017 and the Polestar 2 is fairly new. But don't get me wrong, the Polestar 2 is a fantastic car and offers more than enough for a lot of buyers today. Let's not discount the heads-up instrument panel, the tactile buttons, and a better ride that can be found in the Polestar 2 that may sway some people. Regardless of which you prefer, it will be very exciting to see the improvements to this model over the coming years, as well as the new upcoming models in the Polestar 3 and the Polestar 2. If you factor in cold weather in the winter season, which most people should as many of us experience different seasons regularly, I think the Model 3 is the clear favorite. The Polestar 2 does have a higher ground clearance, adjustable regenerative braking, and more practical door handles which can help in the winter, but the Model 3 has all the other advantages, including the huge edge and extra range which is very much needed in the winter with range loss due to colder batteries. I hope this helped you see the differences and similarities between these two great cars. Please send a like or subscribe if you enjoyed. We are at the beginning of a robust offering of practical and superior electric cars, especially for the everyday driver in colder climates, and it's very exciting to see where we go from here. Whether you get a Tesla, Polestar, or an option not discussed here, I hope to see you up north.